Morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Casey. Spend a little time out of our week talking about market conditions and ways that you can work a little more efficiently in real estate. Like I said, if you get the wrong mortgage, it may cost you thousands of dollars. If you make a mistake in real estate, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's go over a few things today. First of all, let's talk about the market. Are we in crisis right now? No. Are we headed for crisis? The answer is yes. So basically, here's what's on the market right now. Remember, our listing inventory is low. That is artificially pumping prices up. It's keeping prices high. You have a certain amount of people that need to buy a house. They have to pay more. They have to pay more. They need a house. So they're artificially paying higher prices because we still have low inventory. Still down 30% for the year. And it is what it is. Interest rates, doesn't matter. People are going to have to buy a house. All right. So what's really fueling the market right now is divorce, death, downsizing, where people are either taking another job or they're selling their old house. They're going to live down smaller houses. Maybe they're on the victory tour where they've raised the kids, they got grandkids, they're retiring from their thing. Now they're going to sell the big house, go on a victory tour, have a great time, and move on. Those are the main catalysts of selling. But here comes the fourth one. I'm telling you, it's coming faster. So savings, all-time low. Credit card debt, all-time high. Now people are borrowing from their 401ks. What they're doing is there's a lot of people that are suffering in this market, whether it's from the inflation or lack of jobs or whatever. They're suffering. And people in the real estate industry, the mortgage banking industry are definitely suffering because business is off 40%. So now you're going to start to see the fourth element coming onto the market, and that is desperation. I got to sell my house before they foreclose on it. I can't make the payments anymore. I can't keep this going. When you start to see the fourth element come in, now you're going to start to see inventory show up. See, before it was death, divorce, downsizing, and want to, and move up buyers. They're gone. Nobody wants to move up from a 2.5% mortgage to a 7.5%. That whole market is gone. But here comes the desperation market. And this means we're headed to a recession, and that's where we are. And you guys have heard me talk about this before. I'm extremely concerned that we are depleting the strategic oil reserve. We are not producing enough fuel. We're no longer energy independent, and we're depending on other outside sources. I'm having flashbacks of 73. I don't think we're going to see gas lines, but you're seeing increase in gas prices, which I've talked about. Energy prices drive up inflation. Inflation drives up interest rates, and here we go into the eights. So I'm extremely concerned for the future. Right this second, the advice to the sellers is if you're selling a house and moving down, now's the time to do it because we still are high on our prices. Our prices are still 25 to 30% higher than they were in 2020. That is a monster of a bubble. And I was asked today, how much do I think prices will come down? And I think prices could come down 10%. And if I'm wrong, it's 15%. So I think we've artificially gone high because of the low interest rates at 2.5% and no inventory. And now they're plateauing, and now interest rates have risen dramatically. And I think once inventory comes out, yeah, you're going to start to see, success begets success, failure begets failure. So we want to be extremely cautious. I'm telling people, if you're thinking about selling, let's get it done now. Well, we may be at this peak for a little while, but I don't know how long. I seriously don't know how long. I'm very concerned watching fuel prices go up 40 cents a gallon over the last month. This is what we talked about. This is what we projected. This is what's happening. So, no. So as far as the market is concerned, inventory is still low. When we put a house on the market for 1.3 million, it's still selling at 1.325 or 1.35. It's still having multiple contracts. There's still competition for the housing out there. You have to be in great shape, but we are headed into a much tougher market. and we have to be very careful and thoughtful about what we do. I am telling all Samson agents that we work with, I get 5 or 7 calls a week. Can you help? Can you help? Can you help? Can you help? Well, the problem is once we get down the road, then it's really, it's a tough time. We can do it, but it's a tough time. I caution everybody about doing predictive analysis prior to launching a listing, which means be very thoughtful about pricing, test the price. I can guarantee you that 5 out of 5 problems are because they did not do the predictive analysis and now they're stuck. Predictive analysis, launch it coming soon. See how the market handles it. Drop that price if you don't get 8 showings, 6 favorites, 10,000 showings, a lot of loves, a lot of likes, and a lot of sharing. Buzz, buzz, buzz. That's what happens in the predictive analysis period. And then we advise clients. So if you are going to work with the Casey Samson team, you need to bring us in prior to the launch if possible. Can I fix something down the road? Yes. But it's a lot easier to do it when we do that up front. So let's talk about working with the Casey Samson team. The first thing is this. You got to think of the motivation that people have, okay? What's the realtor's motivation? I can tell you that some of the top producing realtors, their motivation is get a sign in the yard, get their name up where all the people can see it, and leave it there. And if it's there for 6 months, it's there for 6 months. If it's there for 3 months, it's there for 3 months. The motivation is promotion, right? Now, eventually, sellers are going to drop the price because they have to. They're going to drop it, and eventually it'll sell, right? So their motivation is get the sign in the yard so my name is out. A big team has 30, 40, 50, 60 agents on that team. Do you know what those agents want? They want leads. So what is the motivation for a big team? Get a sign in the yard, get open houses. There's a house right down the street on a big team, house right down the street that is $300,000 overpriced and has an open house sign on it, and it's been on there for about 50 days. They don't even take it down. It just stays up there. And then every Saturday, every Sunday, they can do an open house, and that gets them clients. So what is the motivation for an individual agent? Exposure. What is the motivation for a big team? They want leads, and they need to have open houses for their people to do it. Now, neither one of those is good for the seller, right? Neither one of those are terrible things for a seller to go through, right? So these medium teams, the medium-sized teams, I don't have to generate leads for the agents that I have. Each one of them does $20, $30 million a year. They're professionals and they're top producers. Our motivation for a medium-sized team, or my motivation as a medium-sized team, is find the buyer pool, market to the buyer pool, capture the buyer pool in the first 96 days, get everything tied in a knot, under contract with backup contracts from then that first 96 hours. Okay. So our motivations are different. My motivation is, I don't want your house. I don't want a house sitting on the market for 30 days. I don't want it for 45 days or 60 days. I don't want my name on a sign that's just sitting out there gathering dust, giving me promotion. I'm not looking for a house that I can advertise in the Sun Gazette. In fact, I would love to advertise a house in Sun Gazette, but 96% of our houses sell in the first weekend. How can you possibly get an ad in when the paper comes out on a Thursday and we're already under contract? I'm under contract on Monday and the ad would show up on Thursday. So, you know, my motivation isn't, you don't see me in the newspaper. You don't see ads up there on there unless I put up a bunch of just solds, which is kind of boring, but I should put it up there. You know, when the motivation is, find out what the agent's motivation is that you're talking to. And I wanted to address outside of this area, right? We can handle all this area, but I want to talk about outside this area. So you got to find out what is the motivation of this person. If it's a big team, they need leads, they need open houses. If it's a big agent, they need exposure. They love it when their name is out there. That's how they get their business. Okay. So let's talk about this. We all have friends everywhere in the country, right? We're going to go somewhere. We're going to people I met with today, beautiful house. They're going to Hilton Head, down Hilton Head. A lot of them go to Charleston. A lot of them go to Naples, Florida, or they're going down south somewhere, or they're going to follow their grandkids. They have children. They're in Denver. They're going to move to Denver so they can be next to the grandkids, which is great. Here's my belief. Here's how you work with us. So we are the #1 medium team in the state of Virginia, and we believe in only working with #1s. So if we're going to refer you somewhere, it's going to be to the #1, right? So when we go to Hilton Head, well, who's the #1 medium team? Not who's the #1 team. Who's the #1 medium team? Because I know in a medium team, 10 people or less, 10 agents or less, you're going to meet with the principal. You're going to be working with top producers, because if we're all doing 150 million and you've only got 10 people, that means most of your people are doing 20, $25 million. So when somebody deals with us, it's a one call. You call a medium team, we've got the painters and the plumbers, the electricians and the landscaping people and the interior designers and the movers and all of that stuff. It's just one call. You call the team and the team just puts you in touch with whoever you need to work with. Only deal with #1s. So when you're moving out of state, that means you're only going to work with a #1. And here's the problem. Sometimes you're working with a person will sell you a house and then you list the house with that agent. Well, that agent may not be a listing agent. They may be a selling agent. So you need to find out who's the #1 listing team in an area, and then we need to interview them. We ask questions they don't. May or may not like, but they're questions I would love somebody to ask me. What's your track record? How many houses sell in the first 96? What's your philosophy? Do you do any predictive analysis? How do you know the home is priced correctly? How do you price the house? How do you market the house? Do you have geofencing and do you have Google ads? Now, the answer is when we're dealing with a #1 team in a state, they may be, or in a region. So the #1 team in Georgia may be in Athens. Well, they're not going to help us if we're down in Augusta. So we need to find the #1 team in Augusta, Georgia. So, but the Wall Street Journal has all these teams. When a 1 calls a 1, you get a phone call immediately. You talk to the principal. You can go toe to toe with a principal. So what we want to make sure is that any one of our clients is always dealing with the #1. Any family member of our clients is going to deal with the #1. Any relative. So if, let's say, you live in Vienna, Virginia, and your kids live in Fresno, well, then you want your kids to work with the #1 agent in Fresno, period. You want your grandmother in New York to work with the #1 agent in that market area, period. They can't find them, we can. They don't know what to ask, we do. So this is a one-stop shop, and you're working with a Casey Samson team or a medium-sized team in your market area. Work with the #1, refer yourself to the #1s. It's called Network One, and that's basically what it is. You only want to deal with ones. And I know I have friends that, struggle down in Florida, or they struggle in New York, and, I kind of don't want to stick my big nose in until it gets so bad. And it's like, look, let me just refer you to the #1 agent in that market area. So we're doing that for all our clients. So when you're dealing with a medium team, which is what you should be, I'm just telling you, the motivation for a medium team is the first 96, or they wouldn't be the best team in the state or the best team in their area. If the #1 team just lets house sit on the market and their average days on market is 45, we'll move to the #2 until we find that the best team for the clients. But they need to have like-kind mentality. Now, I will tell you that after talking to a lot of them, and it's cool to be in a network of ones, very cool, because you learn things. Sometimes in their market, it may not work the same way, but they come to the same conclusion. They come to the same success rate. But in working with ones, you're always, when you go into an area, or your kids are in an area, your parents are in an area, your friends or business associates are in an area, Well, if they're dealing with that number one, then it's a one-stop, one phone call for anything. Anything. Best restaurants. We can tell you all the best restaurants in Northern Virginia. All the vendors. Anybody going to fix up the house? When people, a top producer, a medium team, the number one team, you call them 2 years before you're going to list your house. You will get somebody there telling you exactly what color paint to put. What color paint is working in this neighborhood, in this area, in this price range, in this region. What works in that area? We're going to the number ones. That's who you're going to talk to. That's who you need to talk to. Don't talk to the biggest agent in the area. And don't talk to the biggest team in the area. You're going to talk to the number one medium team, which packs a punch. And the cool thing about a medium team is we've got guys like Johnny G and Haymarket and Ferris Eways and Morgan and Colby and Pat and Kevin, and everybody's talking all the time. And they're feeding off of each other. And they're doing best practices with each other. It's very exciting. I got to tell you, it's very exciting to be a part of a team like that. And then, the staff, you've got good money to afford the top flight people that can handle all that stuff. So that's why I'm a big advocate of the mediums. And I don't want a person trying to sell mom and dad's house in an area that agent is a selling agent, or that agent doesn't do a lot of business, or that team is a big team. They got involved with a big team and house been on the market for 60, 90, 120 days. Should not happen. Call us. We'll put them in touch. Network one. We'll get them referred into the right hands around the country. And I don't care where they are. I don't care where they're coming from or where they're going to. All right. Number ones is where you want to go. So in that case, I would look at a person in Texas. Let's say you're going to Dallas, Texas, and I talk to the number one team in Dallas, Texas. Say, show me your analytics for how you would price a house. And they'd show you something like this, okay? So in this market area of 850,000 to $1 million homes in Vienna, we know that 46% of the homes are under contract. It's a buyer's market. I can see how they analyze the houses in here to tell you whether a home is overpriced or not overpriced, right? I'm looking at analytics like this. This shows the entire market of this, how many have closed, how many homes are coming soon, active. So this is the kind of granular homework that people need to do in order to analyze a market. How do you analyze the market? And don't tell me you put an address into a computer and do it, because I know that's wrong. And if they're Zillow realtors, they will not be on our they won't be on our radar. So let me just see here for a sec. So then when you go to number two, so this is, say, the 850 to $1 million range. Here is 1 million to 1.2 million. So, a market, when somebody says, how is the market doing? Well, there was only a certain amount of active homes in one market, and there's a massive amount of active homes in another. This is remember that was 45. This is 61% of the homes are under market. This is not a buyer's market at that price range. It's a seller's market. So when somebody says, how is the market? You can look at it and say, well, what's your number? What's the price range? What's the town? What's the city? You have to analyze every market individually. So on this one, you've got 3 coming soons. Looks like you got about 6 actives, but look at all the pendings and under contracts, right? And I can tell you that some of these houses are just flat out overpriced, right? Some of them are just overpriced. Some of them been sitting, look at how long they've all been sitting on the market, right? So if I'm coming on and I'm listing in this market, I'm looking at all of these under contracts and pendings, and I'm looking at 4 actives, 5 actives. All of them have been on the market for 40, 50, 60, 100 days. Are there any active homes on the market between 1 million and 1.25 in Vienna at this time? The answer is no. There is not one house that's on the market that's priced correctly. Look at the coming soon, Stormy Way. They're coming on at an assessed value of 152% of assessment. Look at what the homes, forget it, I'll figure out what I did wrong here. But look at the homes right now. The ones that have sold are 118% of assessment. So these two may be correctly priced. Basically, we got to check the condition, but this isn't really something I'm worried about, right? So you have to analyze every individual market as they come and as you see them. Here's 1.25 to 1.5 million. Now remember, I do this for Haymarket. I do this on every house we list, every house, because you've got to know how many active homes am I competing against? Are these guys competitive? Well, look at all of them. Why are all these houses sitting on the market? Look at these ones that sold and pending. Look at how fast they go flying off the market, right? I don't count AC. AC is active with contingent. That usually means the home has a home sale contingency. And basically if you have a home to sell, you can't really contract for a home to buy with a home sale contingency. You can't really do that in the first week because everybody's competing for the house. See these? These are no contingencies. So, if you need to sell a house, then you got to wait until a house sits on the market for 27 days or 16 days or 83 days. Then go in and say, I'll give you this price, but I need to sell my other house. And the only people that are going to listen to that are homes that have been sitting around on the market. So to be honest with you, I don't even count those. I'm looking up here at the actives. They've all gone past their first 96 hours. This is still something, to look at, but, this is mine. That's under contract. So yeah, the only one of ours that we have that I see there is just gone under contract on this list. So that will go down and go under contract 7 days. Great contract, great buyers. Yeah, get over list price and with no contingencies. And it was priced correctly. So anyways, each one of these markets is something you have to analyze. So when we go back to the conversation about who are these agents that you're referring to, and I'm talking to them, yeah, we're number one. These are some questions I have. Can you show me how you analyze the value of a house, price per square foot, percentage of assessment? What does the market look like? How many homes are under contract? How many homes are, active? What does the competition look like in your area? And if they don't have good questions for that, then I'll move on to somebody else, right? But they pretty much do, because they are at a level, if they're doing $150 million a year in Dallas, Texas, and they have 10 agents or below, they're all badasses. They're all good, and they all know what they're doing. So, I'm going to be a little tough, but I'm going to understand what you do may not be what I do, but it may work. But I want to know how you're going to price it. And I want to know how you're going to market it. I want to know how you have geofencing, right? So anyways, this is as well with the agents, the Samson Properties agents. If you're referring things out, it should go into a network one. Don't refer these things out to just any old agent. You got to do, there's a network of them, the network one, and they're the top in each market according to the Wall Street Journal, and that's what I can rely on. So, that's kind of a look at the market. The market is still high, still a good seller's market. The people that are putting the houses on the market are making huge mistakes by overpricing them. They should not sit on the market. If you're going to work with a Casey Samson team and you're a Samson Properties agent, you need to call us sooner rather than later. At least we price the house for a lot of the teams on Samson Properties. So call us before there's an emergency, please. We'll help you out on one, but next time, hopefully you call us beforehand, because that's when we can catch a house before it goes on the market and find out whether that's in fact our number or not. And right now we're going into a very difficult market. And if you make a mistake in this market, you're going to pay for it and your family. So to protect your family, let's just make sure if they're outside of our market area, send them to us and we'll make sure they get hooked up with the right team in their market area, and we'll refer that out to them. Okay. Again, my name is Casey Samson. You've been looking for me at 703-508-2535 or Casey@CaseySamson.com. See you next Thursday at 10:30. Bye now.